Hey, this is Brian again, and I'd like to ask you to do a favor. We can't do this work without people like you, so if you can, please like, share, subscribe, tell your friends about Bring Back the Porch.
This is how you act, this is how you behave. If you don't act that way, you get punished, you get grounded, whatever. I'm not a spanker. I don't think I could. I don't have it in me to raise my hands to my children. I just don't. It's not.
This episode of Bring Back the Porch brought to you by Bernie Leahy, River Street Realty. Let's get you home.
Welcome to another episode of Manual Not Included. And Medicine Hat, are you looking for the perfect summer night out? Then look no further than the excitement of the Medicine Hat Mavericks. Yes, the Medicine Hat Mavericks have been very kind to Bring Back the Porch. And whether you're a lifelong baseball fan or just looking for a great evening out with friends and family, there's nothing like the atmosphere of a ballpark. I can contest this myself. I'm not a big sports guy, but going down to Athletic Park, watching a ball game, that's a good night out. You can grab yourself a cold beverage, grab a snack, sit in your seats, and support your local team. So get your tickets at themavericks.ca/tickets and cheer on our hometown Mavericks as they try to make another unforgettable season towards the playoffs. All right. I got to tell you a story. It's a little depressing just for me, not for anybody else. You might think it's funny. I'm 44. And I don't feel old. Just minor aches and pains. But for 2 days, I did a lot of physical labor. And I got to tell you, this is the first time in my life where I have not recovered fully. Does anybody else get this feeling, this epiphany, where it's not just sore muscles? I'm talking about walking around half limping on a knee brace from my already bad knee. My shoulder's killing me. My elbow's killing me. Like, I feel like it's the point where I do lifting or anything like that I got to stretch first. Oh my gosh. Popping Advils. Not like they're candy, because that's not safe. Don't pop Advils like they're candy. Just when you need them. That's a good statement for the kids. Just if you need them. But yeah, it was just, getting older. Getting older is great, but sometimes it's not the most fun thing in the world. Speaking of getting older, we're going to continue on with the story of my son. I think we were talking about going to school, getting, he's having seizures. Yes, diagnosed with seizures and his old ADHD. All right, so we're in school. And, there's a rough few years here. And me and my wife are both of the like-minded parenting strategy of a mix of new school and old school. I'm pretty old school, or was more old school at the beginning, where this is how you act, this is how you behave. If you don't act that way, you get punished, you get grounded, whatever. I'm not a spanker. I don't think I could. I don't have it in me to raise my hands to my children. I just don't. It's not on my DA. I could never in a million years do it. They know it. It would never ever happen. But let me tell you, there's been some yelling, there's been some, arguments and stern lectures of some of the regular stuff kids do. So in my mind, our son being our second child, it was working so far for our first child, discipline, this is how you act. But sadly, things had to change. And why did things have to change? Because as you learn more about somebody with the learning behaviors of my son, when he started going to class, they noticed he'd get frustrated and he'd shut down. And we're not talking like a 5-minute I need time to myself shut down. We're talking like the whole morning, the whole afternoon, hours on end, to the point where you get these calls from the school sometimes had to pick him up and talking about his behavior. And, you know, you're trying to figure things out. So you'd come home and you'd say, like, you know, what are you doing? You can't do this in class. You'd get mad at him and he'd feel bad. And it even started happening at home. It didn't happen as much at home because at home he's at home. He's relaxed and all, and not anxious or anything like that. He can do what makes him happy. But then it started happening at home. If it was something that he didn't want to do, it's like a flip of a switch, where it was either a shutdown, and then you try to, you know, your kid acts up in public, and you, it can be like the most embarrassing thing ever. But it was never screaming. It was just fighting and arguing and like just an outright refusal. Like I've never seen a boy like so sweet and caring just flip his lid like on a dime. Never hit though. That was one of the benefits. He never hit us, never, you know, hit his sister, never hit another kid at school or anything like that. But he got to the point where it kept getting worse and worse, and to the point where, well, one day we got a call that he started slamming books and yelling at his teacher, and we're like, what is going on with this kid? We need to figure it out. And when we got home, it was also, that's probably I talked about my scariest days parent. This is probably I just felt, this is months and months and months of just not knowing what to do. And I remember I asked him to do something. He just refused. Just like, no. And you're like, excuse me? Like, do you know who you're talking to? You know, that old school parenting mentality, which I'm not going to knock. It just, if you think it's right for every kid, it's just not. This is how I found this out. And I can't remember what I asked him to do, but this thing, and I'm not proud of myself for it, devolved into like a yelling match between us two. And he's like 8 or 9 years old, and I'm yelling at this kid because I'm just beyond frustrated and don't know what to do anymore, and why is this happening, and everything I try is not working. I feel like a complete failure as a parent. And I don't know if I went too far, but I definitely felt guilty out after, like, making him, you don't mean to make him feel like it's his fault. He's kind of like, why are you acting like this? You can't act like this, except screaming at each other. And he's screaming, and I think he threw a pillow at me, and, you know, I slammed the door, whatever. And I remember the second it happened, just tears. Like, I was just like beyond, I've never been that frustrated in my life. Like, just last thread of hope. Like, I don't know what I'm doing anymore. You know, you grow up thinking that your parents know everything in the world because they're your parents or grown-ups, and there's no book on this. Well, people write books, but, you know, there's no manual like this is called. It is not included, and people are just going day by day doing their best, and that was not my best that day. And I remember going in right after and a few deep breaths and more calm, and I remember he's crying, and he kind of snapped out of it, and I remember oh God, it's just breaks. I hate even thinking about it. Just the look on his face, and he was crying, and he looks up at me, this tiny little, he's small for his age, when he was 8 or 9, I don't remember, but he says, you should just give up on me. And that was the worst. Yeah, that was the worst. And I had instantly told him that was never going to happen no matter what. No matter how rough it gets or how bad he thinks he is, when we know deep down that he's not, and we just don't know what's going on, that I would never in a million years give up on him or any of my children. Either one of them would never ever happen. And that was a time when Like, we need to figure this out. We need to help him, because what we're doing wasn't working, like, at all. And that was frustrating, because asking for help is not my strong suit at all. So that's when you have to start looking at yourself too, and say you don't have all the answers. What you're doing isn't working. So what are you going to do to make his life easier? What do you have to change to make his life easier? And our first suggestion was counseling. So we had to go and research counselors for kids like him, and we found a lady, and you meet her, and she's just great. She's a great counselor, and that's when you start to learn more about what he's dealing with, because you don't know what he's dealing with. You don't know what's going on in his head, which is frustrating, and he's too young to tell you what's going on. He can't explain it. He doesn't know what's going on in his head, so how the heck are we going to help him? And how is he going to help himself? And it was the start of a struggle for him. It was nice for us to start to learn more about him, but man, he's doing the hard work. I'm the grown-up. I have to do my part. I'm the parent. It's my job as a parent, to give my children what they need. And I know I would do anything for my kids. Even spending an arm and a leg on counseling, let me tell you that much. Just kidding. If she's watching, she's worth every penny. She's wonderful. The amount that she's helped my son. But yeah, somebody, like I said, it's so weird being a parent when you think for the most part, that your life is planned out. I'm going to have kids. I was raised this way at work. This is how I'm going to raise my kids. Oh, God. And it's one of those curveballs, like, it does not work. Good for you if it does. Pat yourself on the back. Cheers yourself that if you got that lucky. But it doesn't. And I didn't mind changing. I actually was doing an interview with a friend of the family here. And before the interview, she said, well, I'll take it as a compliment, that she's known me a while. She's friends with my wife, but we're friendly, and she's known me for a longish time. And she said to me that out of anybody she knew, she was talking about this podcast that I'm doing. She thought I'd be the last person who would ever do something like this, share feelings and all that, which she was right. I would never have been that person, but I said I had to. And I'm thinking in my head, like, I had to change as much as my son needs to change, as much as my wife and our parenting strategies need to change, as much as our daughter, how she interacts with her brother needs to change, which she wholeheartedly disagrees with sometimes, as siblings like to butt heads, we'll say. They're just like any other siblings who argue constantly about the littlest thing. But yeah, I think on the next episode we'll talk more on what we're learning about our son and what he's dealing with in his head. And it's baffling, the things that I've learned, and I will say it's not a perfect road, but compared to 2-3 years ago, life for him and for us has gotten a lot easier. Challenging but easy. More work, but the payoff has been really great. So don't forget, like and subscribe to bring back the porch. If you like this podcast, go check out all our other podcasts. We do a lot of interviews with a lot of people around the city, what's going on in Medicine Hat. And it does the world of good to subscribe to us, to like our videos, to leave a comment. I love to hear comments on the reels, or if you watch the whole thing, just, talk it out. That's what we do. Shoot me a message. Shoot a comment down there. We can talk it out if you like the podcast. But yes, important. Like, subscribe, do it, and I'll talk to you next episode.
Hey, this is Brian again, and I'd like to ask you to do a favor. We can't do this work without people like you, so if you can, please like, share, subscribe, and tell your friends about Bring Back the Porch.